And we are live. Kingsley, Aaron, and Sasha, how's everyone doing today?
Hey,
Great.
good.
Awesome. Want to welcome our Rogue News subscribers and thank you for tuning in. This is CJ, and very excited to be doing another crypto culture. And today we have some exciting guests. Sasha's riding shotgun as well. She has been connected previously with Kingsley and Aaron, and the great work that they're doing, everything to really disrupt the social platforms of these existing legacy systems like Facebook. And so I'm excited to share their work. They're also doing some great things in terms of the anarchist movement, freedom, liberty, all those great things. So Kingsley, Aaron, Sasha, welcome to Rogue News.
Thanks for having us.
Okay.
Awesome. So let's jump into a little bit because let's talk a little bit around the censorship that's occurring first, because like during this times of unprecedented that we're living through right now, we're seeing where Facebook, the social media platforms are just pretty much coming out and just saying, hey, look, you know what? If you talk bad about vaccines, we're going to shut your platform down. If you talk bad about the WHO, the World Health Organization, we're going to shut you down. So let's talk a little bit around your platform, Flote, and the ideas around it and the concept. So Kingsley, Aaron, go for it.
Yeah, sure. So we got started. We officially launched like the end of the last July. And just for the last couple of years, actually, Erin, she started befriending a bunch of content creators like we all know, Luke Rudowski from We Are Change, Josh Sigurdson from Rural Alternative Media, Dan Diggs from Press for Truth, Jeff Berwick with Anarchast and Dollar Vigilante, Naomi Brockwell, all these people. And so, and then, just being in kind of this movement for a while too, I got involved in 2008 with Ron Paul, and I saw the censorship that they were doing with Ron Paul back in the day on mainstream media. Here he was, a doctor on the debate stage, and they're talking about abortion and, all these healthcare issues. And he gets like 30 seconds of airtime while, all these other unqualified people, obviously that support kind of the mainstream narrative and the in military industrial complex, all this stuff, they get most of the time. So we just saw, and then Alex Jones gets banned, which I think a lot of people, whether you like him or hate him or whatever, we all saw that coming as well. And
David Icke just got banned off Facebook today.
Oh, he did. Okay, so there's another one. And this is incremental, fight against free speech on the internet, where the internet was really created for exactly that. And so we just saw, and I have a background with tech startups, and my previous one was an esports crypto startup that did some really interesting things. And I figured, hey, social networks are probably the hardest thing.
Well,
What?
We actually originally were working on a crypto wallet. That was the plan. And then we watched our friend Josh Sigurdson from World Alternative Media. His channel just got completely destroyed. He interviewed actually David Icke. And ever since that interview, his views had been frozen. His income it was completely slashed.
Yeah, here's a kid who, he's young, but a lot of them have been building up their communities for 5-10 years plus, and getting finally hitting 100,000 on YouTube, finally hitting 250,000 on YouTube, finally hitting 500,000 on YouTube. These are pretty big numbers, and you can start to make a pretty good income off those platforms.
So that's what inspired us to create a social network.
So now we fast forward today, and if you say anything bad about 5G, or you say the wrong thing about
vitamin C.
Oh yeah,
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't go on YouTube and say, hey guys, don't forget your vitamin C fills here, because they'll just demonetize me and delete my videos off the platform.
Yeah, so it's becoming very Orwellian, and I don't like it. So we just need there are other platforms out there, but what we saw out there, they weren't really making the cut as far as what I thought the features that needed to be there, the type of crypto integration. We're not perfect yet, but I think our full vision is a pretty unique.
Perfect vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I'm guilty of it. I've stayed on some of these platforms for probably way too long, but yet I'm one that, points out to these people who have consistently, the ones that are getting shadow banned and their channels completely demonetized, and saying, we've known about this for a couple of years now, right? We've known, we've tracked, we've known that this has been coming at us. And so your company and what you guys are doing is working on creating a solution to that. And so why don't we, in terms of like Flote and Sasha, if you feel free to jump in at any time. So, talk to us a little bit about like is it an app-based or web-based program? And, what are the logins, all that kind of good stuff as it relates to the account procedures for Flote.
Yeah. So we have apps that are still in beta. For the best kind of version that you can get is on the web, but the apps work pretty well. But we have a social networking aspect to it, where you can create public or private accounts. We have encrypted messaging, 256-bit. So there's a lot of, now it's been basically publicly admitted that Facebook is monitoring your
and transcribing.
Yeah, and transcribing your messages.
And
Twitter's doing the same thing. We know Gmail's reading your emails, so we want everything to be encrypted. Even if we wanted to read your stuff, we can't.
Which we don't.
Yeah, which we don't. We have better things to do than these people. We have crypto integration, so we have a Bitcoin wallet. We'll add other cryptocurrencies to it in the future this year. We have live streaming there. So I'm not sure. I don't think we're live streaming on Flote yet, but we want to get you set up with that. Eventually, we have stream keys that you can integrate and live stream on there. We have the people that are like live streaming 24/7 channels now, which is pretty interesting. They're actually, some of them are like creating syndicates of alternative media channels on YouTube or other platforms, and then setting up like 24/7 channels on Flote, which is really cool. We have super chats.
In Bitcoin.
Yeah, in Bitcoin. So, and again, it's kind of unique because we're looking at, really taking, it's like 4 kind of tenets: identification, communication, commerce, and what was the fourth one? I forget what the fourth one is. But anyway, we're taking these things and we're really utilizing cryptocurrency as I saw this as a really unique case. I've used a lot of crypto products, for 7 years or more, and they all just feel like they're made by engineers for engineers. And I always thought that was a big reason why crypto, it was so hard for to get mainstream adoption.
User. Yeah.
So we're really focused on that, making things as easy as possible with cryptocurrency, showing that, hey, if we can link these different identities with this social network and we have it so that people can transact easily with peer-to-peer payments and there's no middleman. Well, not only it actually makes sense from a business perspective, because now as a company, we don't have to grow our censorship team that, is like in the thousands, and they tell about all these horror stories of YouTube people on YouTube, basically having
dedicated channels where they just sit and just watch the whole file and look for keywords that they use.
Yeah. So we're more about empowering the user, and then also when it comes to fees, or empowering the users with tools to censor things themselves, see the content that they want to engage with, instead of some third party centralized force dictating that for you. It just doesn't make much sense to us. And then also, with cryptocurrency, linking people's, profiles with crypto accounts. So now you're not sending to an address, you're sending to a person. And we want to make ways in the future where it can be, more private as far as, and, even include Monero and things like this. But just trying to make it as easy as possible for mainstream adoption. And then also showing, YouTube, they take 45% of your ad revenue. Facebook takes 30%. Patreon, we have a Patreon subscription model where content creators can. Sorry if I'm talking a lot.
No.
Really excited talking about Flote.
This was the whole reason I wanted to have you guys on, is so that I can learn more, because I'm really just at the point where I'm just exploring regarding your platform, and I'm very excited about it. I've seen your posts, and you guys very active on social media, and I think it was just a matter of time to say, hey, look, we want to share your work and what you're doing, because it's just such a vital time in terms of information, in terms of the censorship, and not only that, just in terms of the data mining. It's something that people may not see on the surface, whether you're doing this entire age thing or these predictive type scenarios where hey, take a picture of yourself 25 years ago so we can put this in a database, right? So the data mining that's occurring behind the scenes right now, a lot of people aren't even aware of that.
Right. Yeah. And our whole thing, like we're actually just integrating ads right now, but we're really going the DuckDuckGo model where we're anonymizing, ads. And DuckDuckGo has actually a great little research paper that goes along with this, or it's like a Medium article or something, I forget. But they basically show that like all this data mining, it's not actually really that useful for advertisers. Really, it's like a good selling point. Like people get all excited about it. But in reality, keyword search and things like that, like simple things like that, are actually better because I might be looking for flowers for my grandmother's birthday or something like that, and I don't do that all the time. It doesn't really say anything about me. And they're missing a lot of pieces. So they're trying to put all together these pieces and make this like huge, AI powered, machine learning powered supercomputer, basically that's control. Yeah. Control and conquer. And we just, we don't feel that that's really the right way. And from like I said, from a business perspective, we don't have to grow our content moderating team. Since we enable peer-to-peer transactions, we don't sit as a middleman. So we don't have to like have this huge financial departments where, we take in payments from advertisers or users and then pay it out to other users. We're really trying to connect user to user with both communication and payments.
No, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's terrific. Sasha, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's just this is so needed right now with everything we have in terms of, just YouTube. Like that is the only place that people can really make a lot of money as a content creator. And it just baffles me that we haven't, as a society, moved to something else sooner than this. So I'm really excited for you guys and, grateful to have an option to put my own podcast out on. I'm sure CJ will be putting out on it. And yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll begin the process. We'll begin the process, obviously, just, cross promoting to begin with. And, that's what I recommend for people that are going to start doing that. There's nothing wrong with cross posting, right? So, get your audience, whether you're a business owner currently or you're shifting away from that. I work in the cannabis and the CBD industry, and, we're completely barred from any type of promotions, right? We can't, up our post or anything like that, related to us. So, again, if you're a business owner in that particular space, that industry, it'd be an opportunity. And you guys had some very impressive preliminary numbers in terms of your actual people who are enrolled and participating with Flote, correct?
Yeah, I mean we're still small. We're we're just less than 12,000 in growing, but actually engagement is pretty great. A lot of users right now they're I would say more libertarian minded. This is obviously the issue of free speech affects a wide spectrum. It affects everybody, but the people that seem to really care about it are anyone from in crypto anarchists to even a Trump supporter. Really, we have Trump talking about this stuff. So even if we can garner just those people, then that's still even hundreds of millions of people in the U.S. alone, and obviously billions in the world. But we have been seeing kind of an uptick in just different types of people, gamers, for instance. I mean, you can get banned from Twitch for just the craziest things too. If you have a beer in the background or something, you can get banned. Or if you're
I'm in trouble.
Or even a female and you're showing a little bit of cleavage or something, you're wearing nothing. It doesn't even have to be really provocative nowadays. And they can kick you off or demonetize you again. So I think the people that don't think they're affected by what's going on, by the Alex Joneses getting kicked off or the David Icks or whatever, I think eventually, their time is coming up, and more and more people are seeing that with every issue that comes up and that gets censored.
Yeah. I hate to label it, an info war, because we know what that is synonymous with, but it really is. There's currently an information war that's taking place, and the war for the mind. And never has it been more relevant as it associates the two camps that we're currently being built into with COVID-19. So you have one camp that is, you're selfish if you don't wear a mask. You're selfish if you even want to consider opening things up. And the other, the freedom-minded people, the liberty, is saying, hey, you know what? Regardless of all those things and what the government decides to do, we shouldn't be asking necessarily for the permission to do so. So another for example for myself or for Rogue, for us to convey our message and get an audience participating in that. That's what I'm excited about, what your platform is doing and just navigating away. And it's just going to take some time. Just like cryptocurrency, I'm amazed that I'll see a post now where someone will say, well, how do I start a wallet or whatever, everything else like that. So there's still just a huge learning curve, process that's taking place, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, we may begin a stage where maybe we have to go back to those initial videos where we talked about what is cryptocurrency and how to open a wallet, especially now with the conversation that's taking place in regards to countries and starting these digital currency platforms.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the cool things about Flote too, that we've seen, is that a lot of our users, this is the first time they've actually used cryptocurrency. And so it's cool, like, you know, with it, they're live streaming, or you can tip people through our encrypted messaging, or you can just, you know, send it through the wallet just by using a username. So, you know, it's kind of cool, like sending people, you know, again, like I used to do that back in Reddit when crypto, you know, Bitcoin was like $20, and I would send, you know, $5 on a Reddit post. Now that it's worth, you know, 2,500 or whatever. And it's cool just, you know, opening people's eyes and saying, oh, wow, that's cool. That's fast. Oh, I don't need to hook up to a bank. You know, or, you know, hey, even if you do want to, you know, sell it to a bank, you know, we're integrating ways where you can add your Flote balance to a debit card through a third party. So yeah, it's just really cool, you know, having those conversations again, like we used to.
Seeing the excitement on some, you know, that somebody posts once they win like $20 with a, you know, from a Flote giveaway in Bitcoin, you know, and they're like, oh wow, like this is crazy. I've never owned a Bitcoin in my life, and it's just, you know, it's exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I even, you know, there for a while when I participated and go to, like, you know, holiday parties back in the day, and you know how they do the little white elephant and those types of gifts exchange. One year I even bought a little bit of crypto back when it was cheap and put it on a card, right? You know, put the QR code on there and gave that out as the white elephant gift or the gift, and people were like, what is it? Just to kind of help educate and, you know, share the message of what it is and getting more people having conversation about. But what I'm amazed about is even, like, you know, for example, going to neighborhood, you know, barbecues or fire pits, and that we do have more people engaging in the conversation about, well, what is cryptocurrency? What are these digital currency platforms? And even though that, you know, several of us were probably the early adopters into that space, people are starting to understand that, look, why is it okay that the Federal Reserve is pumping trillions of dollars into our economy? How exactly are they doing that? Finding out that in several other countries, primarily Europe, that they're going to negative rates in terms of banking and finance. And so I think the effort to get people to understand is, I think there's a reason why they took a lot of home economics out of the classroom. That's one thing that I think needs to go in, is that people don't understand how money works. But I think there's a conversation that needs to be had in terms of becoming your own central bank. You know, right. How do you become your own central bank in terms of leveraging, you know, cryptocurrencies, leveraging, you know, either exchanging, and that's the power I think that cryptocurrency brings, is more so leveraging it as a method of exchange.
Yeah, it's even crazy. Just I like, my background actually is in wealth management before all this. So I was, you know, basically, you know, stockbroker. I help with portfolio management and all this kind of stuff. And here I was, you know, 23 or to 25 years old. I think I worked for, only a couple of years in the industry. And also previous to that, I went to school, and I was trying to, you know, I was going to school for finance, and the books that I was reading that seemed to be from people that knew what the hell they were talking about completely contradicted what my professors were saying. So I ended up dropping out, because I was like, I'm not going to pay for this if they're just teaching me garbage. Like, what's the point? I remember opening up like our an economics book, and it had like a economy like cycle like little image or whatever. And here it was at the top of it, the Federal Reserve. And I was just like, from what I understand, like, it doesn't really make sense why we have a central bank, why we need a Federal Reserve, and all this kind of stuff. And I was asking the professor, obviously he didn't know what to say. So, and then, you know, fast forward, I took my series 7 and 63 and 65 exams to get licensed. And then I'm taking these tests to get licensed. And it's like, literally, like, one of the questions was, you know, basically I'm making it a little bit more, you know, plain English, but it's basically like, Federal Reserve is good, true or false? You know,
recite after me.
I know what I have to put to pass the test, even though it's like, can I just, can I miss this one answer just for this? But you know, it's just complete indoctrination. And then I, you know, fast forward, then I start working for these firms. You know, the biggest one, these were boutique firms, but the biggest one had like 400 million under assets, and the, you know, nice people, whatever. But it's like, these people are managing all this money for all these other rich people who first of all don't, and they don't know where money comes from, how it works, what the Federal Reserve, like what it really is. They get all their headlines from CNBC and all the mainstream, and they just assume that that's, and then they got indoctrinated in the schools. So they just assume that, hey, this is the way it is. And no one really, is thinking outside the box. And that's what actually led me to getting interested in cryptocurrency. So that's, that's really what's kind of, spawned it all, which is really cool.
And then you started a Bitcoin meetup, and then you met me.
Yeah. And then we started a Bitcoin meetup, and then, then we ended up meeting.
And that's something
we are having an issue with our search function right now that we're working on fixing. So, but yeah.
But, crypto education is something that Kingsley and I take very seriously. It's very like near and dear to our heart. And so, with the Bitcoin meetup, we've actually run it together since 2014. And so we still do them today. And, we'll help anybody who asks to help set up a wallet. Or, like right now, we're actually doing a campaign called the Fiat Free Challenge, where we encourage people to stop using banknotes for 30 days.
Yeah. Aaron, I saw when you posted that today, and I was thinking I would like to participate in this, but I might need a little, where do you get your groceries? Like, how do you actually?
Yeah. No, we created, so like, I created a table with like, all these different crypto companies like Bitrefill. You can get like Walmart gift cards, Whole Foods, Vons, Albertsons, Safeway gift cards that you can purchase with crypto. With any crypto besides Bitcoin Cash on Bitrefill. But I'll send you the table that I have. I posted it on my Flote account, and it tells you like the name of the company, the website, the cryptocurrencies that they transact with, and if there are any restrictions. So, if it's like a Australian only company or like a Canada only company.
And I really, the point of it, like, yeah, like let's try to be fiat free for 30 days, really try. But really, if we can even just get, one person to just maybe figure out how they can just use crypto in one way that they use, daily, weekly, or monthly.
Yeah.
That's really a win, so.
Right. We just want to show how, there's a common misconception that using cryptocurrency as money is difficult. And it's not that difficult, not when you know where to go. And, with the Fiat Free Challenge, we're going to be having like kind of a board of advisors that people can go to that live unbanked or have lived unbanked. And so will be like a resource for the people who have questions. So we're really excited about it. Today is actually the first day, and I have to get something out about it after this. So
nice.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's absolutely awesome. Something that I probably should, start doing in my community here, just because. But go ahead, Sasha. Do you have something you wanted to add in?
No, okay. Sorry, I was sweating.
Okay. She's asking to jump in. Yeah, but no, in terms of what you said, in terms of people getting money out of their bank, and that's something that I, even from a freedom and liberty perspective, people that are looking to in those states, for example, whether it's Vegas or Michigan, Nevada. Get your money out of the banks. If you really want to hurt the government institutions and say, you know what, okay, we're done. If you're not going to open up whatever, then there's no reason for us to continue, having our money in the bank and finding ways of disrupting the current system. And I know that there are several people who are completely live without a banking account and, leveraging cryptocurrency. I do want to table real quick the conversation in regards to looking at cryptocurrency as far as like a storage of wealth or investments. And I think that the initial conversation where we were talking about leveraging cryptos as a method of exchange, of a utility, and then somewhere along the way, I think it kind of, took a different course where people were like looking at it as far as like investing and all that. And I have no problem with people doing that, but I'm a little bit afraid that we may have turned some people off to cryptocurrencies because of how easy it was to manipulate that market. Go ahead, Sasha.
No, I was just saying it's like around the time of, the Bitcoin Cash, then it caused that conversation to really start. Is it a store of value or is it a method of exchange? And then I feel like our communities just split and got all tribalized. And then it was like, no, you must not spend your Bitcoin. If you're spending your Bitcoin, it's, it's
Girl, the maximalist came out and yelled at you.
Yeah. But at the same time, they might be right. Like, I do like to keep, my Bitcoin saved if I can. Like, that's usually my preference, but it would, if a grocery store would take it, and like I wouldn't have to sometimes cash out my Bitcoin that a client would pay me with just so that I can spend it at a grocery store.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, you know, Bitcoin, I feel like used to be the king of transacting, but it's crazy that like Dash works so well as a money and Bitcoin Cash works so well as a money.
As far as transactions.
As far as transactions, you know, so much better than Bitcoin. And so when people talk about, oh, I don't want to, you know, spend my Bitcoin, I'm like, that's fine. Just hodl that and like transfer. I'm sorry, I'm really excited. Just transfer over like the USD that you hold for, you know, as a budget for your like groceries or your food or whatever, like transfer that into crypto. It doesn't matter what it is. And just, you know, play around with it. There's so many resources out there that will tell you and teach you how to use Dash. Like Joel Valenzuela, he's used Dash as money, strictly Dash, since 2016.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah. We were pretty much, we're more banked than we've been pretty unbanked this year, but we were mostly unbanked like 2017 and 18. Yeah. And it's just, I mean, it's just, you know, it's just so much better. And yeah, the people that say don't spend your Bitcoin, it's like, well, I spend all my USD on Bitcoin, so therefore I can only use Bitcoin as money. So that's what I prefer too. I don't, you know, we just did a bank transaction yesterday, limited to $3,000. You know, what? You know, forget that. This is my money. This is it just doesn't make sense, and that's why I'll participate in the volatility of Bitcoin. You know, I used to be against stable coins, but now actually I appreciate what they bring to the industry, and so so you know, now they're making it actually really easy. I saw even I think BitPay is adding I think Binance's stable coin to their wallet. So, you know, there's just a lot of things with stable coins and other cryptocurrencies now where basically I don't think there's really a reason to even hold USD unless, you know, you really have to.
And the future is bright. Like people are innovating every single day. So who knows what the state of the market is going to be in like even 2 years down the line.
Yeah. And going back to your point,
sorry, what'd you say?
I was just saying, think where we've come in the last 2 years. Like stable coins weren't even really a conversation other than Tether.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We got a couple.
And I still don't trust Tether.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick before we shift gears, if one of you could just go over like Flote in terms of the IP, any of the social handles that you have, just so that people can stay in tune with it. So what are those in particular? I have a couple brought up, but just in case I'm missing any.
Yeah. So also I'm a King on Flote. So if you search in the search bar for King, I should pop up. Or if you go to flote.app/King, we also have the URL. We have the URL joinflote.com for people to find it. Erin is at Erin. Yeah, she used to be Erin Nakamoto. I made her change it.
Yeah.
So that because it's just easier, even though I love Erin Nakamoto. But and yeah, you know, join us there. We're about to launch Flote Market. So going back to your last point, CJ, of like all these, you know, businesses opening or having to stay closed or whatever, and like we want Flote Market to be a place where people can barter better. And again, where you can list not only physical goods and services, but also digital goods and services. We did tests on selling PDFs, selling MP3s, selling videos, all this stuff. You know, right now you can already really sell kind of videos or audio. You can upload audio, which I think is really unique to Flote.
Right. So if you have a podcast, you don't have to host on SoundCloud. You can just host directly through Flote. And I just saw your husband joined, DJ Skrilla.
Nice.
Yeah, I just logged into mine too, and I apologize. I haven't been on it in a while, so I'm gonna have my law clerk has been taking care. Not law clerk, but it's actually my law clerk's husband has been taking care of all my uploading everything. So I'm gonna have him get logged in and put all the old videos up there.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it looks really great. Lots of activity on it. You know, there's a lot of people, a lot of comments.
Yeah, we have our fire hose, so you can see posts in real time, and so like that's like I think my favorite feature on Flote. But yeah, right, we're growing every single day, and just kind of it's crazy because we started off last July, and we had a community like within 1 month, and then it just builds and builds and builds, and like people are just so appreciative to have just kind of a straightforward platform, and albeit, you know, though we are small, but I feel like we are one of the only social media alternative platforms to grow at such a substantial rate. I mean, most of these platforms have been around since 2014, even 2013. And I'm excited to kind of see the future. Our devs hate us because we're just like,
yeah. Well, let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about some of the other work that both of you are involved in. And you guys, last year, I think, was the inaugural year of Anarcho Vegas. Yep. Looks like you guys have another event coming up for this year. So let's talk a little bit about that. And I'm excited for it. Hopefully, I'm going to be out at Vegas probably, I think, the week before. So I'm going to try to sneak back out for a quick trip. But let's jump into it. So let's hear all about Anarcho Vegas.
Well, yeah, you go for it.
So Anarcho Vegas was kind of our love child that we created last year. We had seen little anarchy events popping up kind of, in Portugal, forks of like Anarchapulco.
And we've been going to Anarchapulco since 2017.
Right. And so, we kind of just wanted to bring something here to the States just because Acapulco is kind of difficult to travel to and it's expensive. And we kind of wanted to create just a different vibe. And so we forked it and did Anarcho Vegas last year. We sold out last year. And then this year we really wanted to bring the price point down significantly. So it's very accessible for just about anyone to come and learn about, what is anarchy. We also have our Crypto Vegas Day where it's just a full crypto track. So, and that's the same pricing. We have G. Edward Griffin keynoting Anarcho Vegas and lots more to be announced. So we're very, very excited. That's happening July 19th. 2020.
Yeah, we had the last year was so fun. Like it was a lot of work. We decided to do it 3 months in advance, which it was stressful, but it worked out.
And we actually got kicked out of our venue.
Yeah, and we got kicked out of our venue because they said that one of our speakers was on some sort of terrorist watch list. So we're pretty, which is completely just
Mark and Rose.
Yeah, which is I think it's completely BS because he also travels and all this
a lot.
But yeah, we had over 200 people last year. We had 100%, positive feedback. It was just like a great time. I remember like just in the beginning of the conference, finally when it took off and things were starting to roll, and Aaron and I just like looked at each other and it was just like an air of like stillness and just like everything was just running perfectly and everyone was having such a good time. And so we were like, okay,
I only had one anxiety attack, so that's that. I'll take it.
But this year we decided to double down and do Crypto Vegas as well. Sorry?
I said running a conference is a lot of work. People don't realize how many little things there are that you have to really take care of. And
no, I think it's a great idea. Even when you launched it last year, I was like, hey, you know what? Because unfortunately I haven't been to Acapulco yet. There's just been a lot of different counter things going on, and I've got a family, so it's difficult to break away, keeping the wife happy, all those kind of good things that I had to stay local. But I think it's something that is a great time right now at the point that we are at, especially here in the United States, as we're looking at, the state, right? The state taking over this massive power grab and consolidating powers, not only in terms of the financial, but the merger of corporation and government that we continuously see. So I think the idea is there, and to really just have the one time a year event versus, hey, let's take this throughout different areas in the U.S. So I think last year there was one on the East Coast. You guys had a successful event last year. I heard great feedback from that event. So congratulations on that. And I think that's the message. Like if you're tuning in, and most people, when they hear the word anarchy, they think bad right away because that's what the media conveys. Oh, these people are crazy and they're starting fires and everything. But
you should see how we have to talk to our venues. We're like very careful with the words that we use. We don't lie, but we're very careful about how
we're cryptocurrency and entrepreneur conference.
Yeah. Well, I've always said, and like I think in terms of, I think there's a middle of the road in terms of a progression of getting people to understand a life without government, because it's such a drastic change. Most people can't even envision what that would look like, right? Most people are like, well, who would do the schools? Well, who would do the roads? And so I think there is a conversation that we had, and that's starting with the idea of a limited government. And what would a limited government bring? And that could be like a decentralized government. Like, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, really what it comes down to is that there's a monopoly right now in place, which is called the government. And really it's just about opening that monopoly up and introducing competition. I mean, when competition is introduced, we know that things like the DMV, things like all these government programs and organizations that have never, aren't really held up to scrutiny because they hold that monopoly title. They will be, because now there's someone obviously competing with them. So if you're able to compete fairly without the threat of violence behind it, then that's what it's all about. Just like you said, like with just decentralizing.
Yeah. I've been just really trying to, through this time period, getting people to rethink government. It's one of the things that we're not having any conversation about. That we're talking about, hey, protecting, families, which is right. We're talking about these massive spending bills, getting people to people's homes, but we're not really taking the time to assess, okay, well, if these essential parts of government are completely shut down right now, then why do we need them?
Right.
If they're not operating and they're not essential, why do we need them? Why do we need to continue that? And then also this idea that I hear continuously that, well, I'm getting my government stimulus check. No, you're not getting the government stimulus check. That's money that you gave the government. It's not the government giving you. Yeah, it's not the government giving you anything. And also the ideas around our freedoms and liberties. We don't ask government for permission to do these things, and it's unfortunate. It's been very, through this time period for me as an individual, disheartening to see how, as a society, we just, even from a freedom, liberty minded base, like the amount of people that, and unfortunately, that's what fear does, right? Fear is a very strong weapon. And you get those people who are normally, and I even see it in publication. I think that's what makes it so difficult. You see different, people that used to question like 9/11, people used to question this. And then the moment that it comes out, anything death related, they're like, stay home, quarantine, put your mask on. But then there's other people that are like, why are you doing this? So it's been a difficult conversation. I'm being long-winded about it.
It's sad,
Yeah, it is sad. It is.
Stay home, because most people are very compassionate and they're caring, and they do care about people. But at the end of the day, people still don't recognize the tactics that the government uses to strike fear in the hearts and to just strictly to gain control. And so hopefully more people wake up, as it's awful to say, but as more civil liberties are taken away from us, I really hope more people start to wake up and start to realize, hey, like, this is what's happening and this is what I have to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like especially with what's happening now, it seems like more people are waking up, especially small business owners, because they're like, what is going on? Like in Nevada, like we've had, I think, 212, I think, deaths from this going on.
Your numbers are so low, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah.
Which really is kind of very confusing too, because we had the Chinese New Year here before, and one of our friends even went to the Bellagio with a bunch of Chinese people that were visiting, which is fine. But he was like saying everyone was coughing everywhere and everything. So it's just kind of confusing how Vegas, being one of the main tourist hubs of the world, how we're not affected that much yet. We have now, I think it's like 10 or 20% unemployment and all this kind of stuff. And so little, I mean, we've gone to hospitals just to see, like the little, people are calling like conspiracy. It's like, we're just going down the street to check to see what the volume looks like at a hospital from, an outsider's perspective. But the government's telling us everything's crazy, everything's chaotic. And yet we're not seeing that. We saw, healthcare professionals in where they, I guess, take your temperature or whatever to go into the hospitals. Most healthcare professionals aren't even wearing protective devices, face or masks.
But this guy who's supposedly standing out there to take the temperature right at, there's like a tent right at the entrance, and his mask is below his face.
Yeah.
And it's like, you would think that if things were as bad and as crazy as they say, like, why would you have your mask like below your mouth? It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah.
I have a friend who's he works as like a nurse's assistant in a hospital, and he got COVID last week. 1 week later, he had to go back to work. They were going to fire him, or he had no extra sick days for catching COVID. He just had to, either use his personal days or go back to work. And I thought, why would they want someone with COVID working there right now? Like,
right.
It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
Or when you see someone wearing scrubs out in public still, it's like, what the fuck are you thinking? You're wearing yours. And then granted, I know they probably have them at home and they look comfy and all that kind of good stuff, but I'm like, you're seriously going to wear those out of a hospital setting? That may not be the right thing to do right now.
Yeah.
Or all these, it's just, I don't know. I saw some YouTuber who's kind of like on the conspiracy side of things, but he brought up a good point. He's like, he was in the epicenter of where this is all happening around New York City. And he sees a line outside of like a hoagie, stand. Basically, he's like, so all these people are risking their lives for a hoagie sandwich. It's just like, it just doesn't seem, it's just very strange. Like everything's up in the air right now. Things are changing from the official story, basically daily or weekly. Questions aren't being answered. We're given all these, stats that just aren't adding up. Really. So, it's just, I don't know. It's really interesting times. For sure.
This test, I mean, like the tests that they're providing, first of all, like, isn't there evidence that the tests were faulty to begin with? And they're charging $100 and I think it's like $60 per test. And then if you do test positive, what do they do? They just tell you, okay, go home, rest. Here's
right.
Why would anyone bother ever going? I would never go to the hospital unless, probably just not right at this point right now. I don't want one of those ventilator things.
Yeah,
anymore.
Right. Yeah, those seem to be hurting a lot of people.
Yeah, the whole idea regarding this whole mass testing thing is just a complete psyop. It's like one of those perceived safety mechanisms that you're instituting with people that, we're all tested and so we're okay. And it's really unwarranted at this time and unprecedented. I don't think we've ever had any type of mass testing that's occurring right now. And then you have this other type of group that are like the hey, I even heard my governor say it today that I pray God for a vaccine for this. It's like, okay, we don't have a vaccine for the flu yet. Why? We do, but they don't work. But getting back to the idea around Anarcho Vegas and the mind, I think it's an opportune time for us to really focus in on how we can really change government. It's an opportune time for it. It really is. And if we can work for people to understand is that until we can stop talking about the fake left-right paradigm as it's associated today in American politics, then we're never going to accomplish anything. The idea that one individual themselves can be appointed as president of this country and really fundamentally change things, it's not going to happen. It's the entire system that's really currently broken. And I hope that at Anarcho Vegas, there's an opportune time to talk about some of those things of, how do we work with that person? Because let's face it, we've been plugged into this existing system for so darn long. Mm-hmm. People can't begin to imagine what life potentially would be without government. So how do we find that middle road to work and to reach those individuals? And again, I think that because of the lockdowns, because of what we're witnessing now is opening a lot of people's eyes in terms of where we are currently as a state and the consolidation that we're witnessing, not only on the federal government, but also just on the business aspect of corporate America, where you're going to see a lot of small individual businesses that are going to struggle to succeed, and see these monoliths like Amazon and Google now be able to consolidate their corporations extensively.
I mean, yeah, no, you're right. It's funny. I was really worried about even hosting the conference, being in July and having so many people out of work. I didn't think people were going to be, getting on an airplane and coming to Vegas so soon, especially with the threat of, I don't know if you read this, but people are, people are threatening to take your blood, like before you can, or take your temperature before you get on an airplane.
Yeah, I've heard blood too. Yeah.
And so there's that, and like that's a huge concern. But
the governor, just basically coming out weekly with vague statements about, we need to have this before we can open this, and it's all vague. There's no timelines or anything.
So I was really worried, and then I started talking to a couple of our past attendees, and people are so excited. First of all, people are so excited they can't wait to get out of their houses. They can't wait for a big networking event. They're so excited. I see you pulled the Free Ross fundraiser up there. That was a huge hit last year. We're very good friends with Lynn. And so being able to do like a Free Ross fundraiser where we do an auction and proceeds for the cash bar, tickets, proceeds, they all go to Lynn.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Great job.
People are so excited. Even still, like they're not afraid to drive to Vegas from California. They're not afraid to fly here to get together with their community. You know, so many people, especially I think that are liberty minded, they often feel really alone, you know, and like the black sheep of the family. And they just want people around that get it. They just want to be surrounded by like minds. And so that's not a fear of theirs. And you know, it's very, very inspiring. And that's why I feel more comfortable announcing that we are going ahead in July. Hopefully the city opens up, but
yeah, now they're saying May 15th. So, you know, we have a little bit of time. It's not easy either, planning and organizing a conference and getting sponsors and getting speakers and all this stuff with everything up in the air as it is. So, but right now, like we are in the same week as Freedom Fest, on the tail end of Freedom Fest, which is you know, another kind of I don't know. It's, you know, it's a libertarian conference, but it's kind of like libertarian light, you know, like dress up in suits, you know, pretend like you're fancy or whatever.
Politicians are keynoting.
Yeah, more political stuff.
Right.
But we're more about you know, entrepreneurship, solutions,
innovations that circumvent the state,
agorism,
push us
really
forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Kingsley and Aaron, congratulations, seriously, on all the work that you're doing to really disrupt the current system with Flote and also Anarcho Vegas. Very excited to continue monitoring, tracking your guys' work. We should do this again, and let's go around the horn real quick with any closing comments. So we'll start with Kingsley, to go to Aaron and Sasha.
Closing comments. Yeah, buy your ticket to Anarcho Vegas, join Flote, and you know, question authority, I guess, question government.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You can find us on Flote at Aaron, ERIN, and at King. And if you have any questions about how Flote works, don't hesitate to send us a direct message. We're very, very approachable, and we want to be able to help bring people off of mainstream platforms. We just, you know, we're on Facebook. That's how we promote, you know, a lot of our conferences and Bitcoin meetups and things like that. You know, but at the end of the day, like, we can't keep rewarding these bad platforms when there are so many good alternatives.
They're making a lot of money off of us. A lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. You are the product.
So help make Flote a lot of money so we can build better technology for you instead of against you.
Right.
We will do it. Sasha, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to being at the Anarcho Vegas as well. Yeah, it's like, it is really nice to have something, you know, concrete that you know you're going to go do hopefully no matter what when the time comes. Yeah.
I know, I can't wait to see you in person again.
I think since Bitcoin 2019 conference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, CJ, thanks I guess I'll give a little plug to the Hodlcast. I just did a podcast with Amber Scott today from Outlier Canada, and we had a big discussion around the stablecoin regulations or the recommendations just put forth by the G20. So people can, if they want to hear more about that. Amber always has really insightful views on everything. So I really had fun talking with her. Nice. And at Sasha Hodler on the website and Twitter.
Yeah, and if you are a crypto company, I highly recommend that you engage Sasha for everything and anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, honestly, you're super smart. Like, I'm not just saying that. Like, you're so smart. You got you just know what's going on, how to navigate, you know, the legally. So
I can give a quick little plug for the money transmission side of things too. We're having success now using trust companies. So Prime Trust is one that has set up now where you can kind of circumvent all the 50 state by state rules by getting a trust account that now is allowed to hold crypto wallets. So it's you basically get to use their banking licenses. So it's a cool way to avoid having to send 50 no action letters around.
And they're based in Vegas.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for a great discussion today. We should definitely do this again and again for our Rogue subscribers, Rogue News listeners. Please make sure to like, share this, and also remember, this is solutions-based content that you're listening to right now. So if you're really looking to kick the banksters in the nuts, to disrupt the political establishment, go to flote.app, sign up for your account today. Make sure you get out to Vegas. It's right around the corner. You can take advantage of today of some special pricing that's taking place.
77 more days.
There you go. And then also make sure you tune into Sasha's work that she does on the Hodlcast. So A lot of fun today, and let's do this again soon.
Yeah, thank you, CJ.
Yeah,
all right, take care.